In the dense heat of Lagos, where timidity clings to your skin, the city breathes with a tension most people ignore, but no one escapes. On the bustling streets of Cirilla, amidst the cries of hawkers and the honking of danfers, a young man named Emeka moved with an unusual urgency. Emeka was 29, lean but strong, with eyes that missed nothing, a trait that had always set him apart in a society where looking away often meant survival. His life was ordinary, shaped by a father in civil service and a mother running a small tailor shop. But ordinary would never prepare him for the storm he was about to unleash, a storm born from truth, courage, and a society unwilling to face either. It all began one afternoon with a tip. A folded piece of paper slipped into his hand at the chaotic Oyelegba junction. A stranger whispered, "If you value your life, read this carefully," before melting into the crowd. The note was simple yet explosive. Governor Ibekwe's next project involves funds meant for orphanages. Millions will be stolen. If you speak, they will come for you. Disbelief washed over Emeka. Corruption was a constant whisper in Nigerian politics, but seeing it laid bare like this demanded action. A courageous outcry stirred within him, a feeling that could either spark justice or get him killed. He had to confirm the information. Nights became his allies as he dived into Lagos's underbelly, piecing together the web of deceit from dimly lit bars in Ikeja to the quiet, wealthy streets of Victoria Island. With every discovery, the danger grew. He started noticing unfamiliar cars parked at odd hours, their blacked-out windows following his motorcycle through the city's tangled roads. One evening, the danger became real. While secretly photographing documents in a deserted alley in Yaba, he heard footsteps echoing behind him. His heart hammered against his ribs. He dove behind a pile of refuse just as two men, their faces hidden by shadows and caps, emerged. They were looking for him. He slipped away, unseen, his only ally the very darkness that concealed his hunters. The next day, friends and colleagues warned him. "Be careful," they'd say, their voices tinged with suspicion. "People in high places don't like being exposed." But Emeka knew that if he hesitated, the corruption would continue, and the innocent, the children in the orphanages, would suffer. The choice between silence and courage was a razor's edge. So, he turned to social media. He didn't make wild claims. Instead, he crafted a careful narrative, showing anomalies in government spending, documenting ghost projects and misallocated funds. Each post was a strike against the invisible chains of corruption, and each one brought a fresh wave of threats. His phone buzzed relentlessly with ominous messages. "Stop now or face consequences." The city itself seemed to grow more oppressive. Neighbors' gazes lingered a second too long. Street vendors who once greeted him now avoided his corner. Then came the first physical confrontation. 3 burly men cornered him outside his apartment. They didn't speak. Their silence was a hammer of threat. One of them lifted a knife, its blade catching the moonlight. Emeka's mind raced. He had expected this, but that didn't stop the surge of adrenaline. He feigned a retreat, luring them into a narrow gap between buildings. When one lunged, Emeka twisted, sending the man stumbling into a wall. He sprinted toward the street, disappearing into the chaos of Lagos nightlife. He realized then that courage wasn't enough. Survival required strategy. He started contacting investigative journalists, whistleblower organizations, and even former government aides tired of the complicity. Through encrypted messages and secret meetings in cafes and abandoned warehouses, Emeka fed them information. Piece by piece, a scandal of unimaginable scale began to take shape. But power, especially unchecked power, hates the light. His apartment was broken into, his computer wiped clean. A neighbor, wrongly suspected of helping him, was beaten as a warning. The walls of safety were crumbling, but Emeka refused to stop. His videos started gaining traction. People shared his content, hashtags began to trend, and local news outlets picked up the story. For the first time, ordinary people were talking loudly enough to be heard. One night, as he prepared to upload a critical document, he heard the sound that made his blood run cold, a motorcycle stopping right outside his gate. He peered through the blinds and saw 2 figures in helmets, scanning the street. There was no time for panic. He grabbed a backpack filled with all his research and slipped out the back exit, disappearing into the darkness. What followed was a desperate cat-and-mouse chase across Lagos. The sprawling, chaotic city offered cover, but also countless dangers. He navigated rooftops, abandoned markets, and narrow passageways known only to those who had mastered the city's hidden arteries. The pursuers were relentless, but the night belonged to those who knew its secrets. Finally, he reached the city's outskirts, where an old ally, a retired journalist named Amina, was waiting. Her house, hidden behind a thick grove of trees, was his only refuge. Inside, he laid out everything: the evidence, the videos, the documents. Amina, a veteran of exposing political scandals, examined it all with sharp eyes. "This," she said quietly, "could bring them down. But if they find out it was you..." Her voice trailed off, the unfinished sentence heavy with unspoken danger. Emeka understood. Courage had brought him this far, but it was fragile against a system that could swallow a life as easily as it swallowed secrets. Still, he couldn't stop. To do so would betray every child in those orphanages. every citizen denied justice. In the following days, Emeka's online presence vanished. Every interaction was calculated, every message encrypted. He communicated only through trusted channels. But slowly, the world began to notice. Local news leaked snippets of information. Citizen movements took to the streets, demanding accountability. Influencers, bloggers, and even international news outlets started paying attention. Then came the inevitable reckoning. A government official summoned Emeka under the pretense of negotiation. They offered bribes, then warnings, then threats cloaked as concern. But Emeka was ready. The meeting, held in a secluded building, was secretly recorded and shared widely. The official's words, meant to intimidate, became proof of corruption for the entire nation to see. The scandal erupted. Headlines screamed across the country. Whistleblower exposes multimillion-naira scandal. Social media exploded. Emeka, once an anonymous young man, became a symbol. They said his courage could topple empires or at least shake them enough to force change. The danger never fully disappeared. Emeka continued to live in the shadows. His location is secret, but his mission clear. The government scrambled to contain the fallout, but the citizens' voices, now emboldened, were impossible to silence. Public pressure forced resignations, investigations, and reforms. Emeka's outcry had cost him his peace, maybe even endangered his life, but it had lit a fire that no one could extinguish. In the quiet moments, from the rooftop of a safe house, he would stare out at the city he had risked everything to change. The air was thick with the smell of exhaust, wet earth, and distant cooking fires, the smell of millions of lives. And somewhere in that dense heat, the echoes of his courageous outcry lingered. It was a reminder that one person, armed with truth and unwavering courage, could defy a system built to crush both. The story of Emeka spread across the nation, a tale of fear, risk, and relentless bravery. In a society where silence often meant survival, he chose to speak, and in that choice he became more than a man. He became a spark in the smog of corruption, a reminder that the courageous outcry of one can ignite the conscience of many. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share and subscribe to our channel for more content that matters. Stay safe and stay courageous.